let's start with the headlines that came out of Ann Arbor yesterday that completely came out of nowhere. The entire sports media world was flipped upside down with this news, and that is with Sherrone Moore. Like we mentioned, Sherrone Moore was fired. This is coming from ESPN. Quote, Michigan fired coach Sherrone Moore for cause Wednesday after a university investigation found credible evidence he was engaged in an inappropriate relationship with a staff member. It goes on, this conduct constitutes a clear violation of university policy, and maintains zero tolerance for such behavior. Athletic director Ward Manuel stated that yesterday. He said that basically that this was a firing for cause, and we'll dive into kind of why that matters both legally and financially. But that's the announcement itself. But we got to really understand how we got here. If you look at the timeline behind it, there was rumors on Twitter. I know I saw it last week, and it's even goes back to some say September through some different discussion boards through college. But with this being said, Beckett, looking at kind of how this situation went down, do you think there's anything on Michigan's side that could have prevented such a turbulence from coming out based on the timing of this situation?
There's nothing Michigan could do about this. This was simply on simply on him. Um, as corny as this saying is, with great power comes great responsibility. And man, you've just fucked it all up. You completely fumbled the bag after taking over one of the most iconic coaches in college football with Harbaugh. I mean, coming off what 86 and 25. This is not Michigan's fault. This is simply his fault. I don't think a college football program cannot influence you to do something like this. I mean, taking over one of the most pristine coaching jobs within the country, dude, how do you mess that up? Like, seriously, how do you mess that up? Coming off Jim Harbaugh's, what, three Big Ten championships, a national championship, an iconic coaching career at Michigan. Um, dude, you can't be doing this. Like, this is I don't know if this is a reflection onto the university or the program itself. I think once we get more into the investigation, that's a question we can answer confidently then. But now, with how fresh this is, I don't want to be pointing fingers at anyone besides him, honestly. It's on him. Who knows if this started in September? This could have happened in March for anybody. No one knows. So I don't think it's on the program. I don't think it's there's no pointing fingers besides pointing it at Sherrone. So I'm not I'm not blaming the program. I'm blaming him directly. This is a personal decision. Mixing football and life is something that I've never been a fan of. I think why would you want to mix something that is I've never understood it. I've never understood it. I won't understand it. Um, and putting literally the best job that you will ever have on the line is something I don't understand. Um, I don't think he was expecting to go to the NFL after this coaching job, as far as I know. Um, but man, like, dude, like I said, with the insane amount of power that you have comes with the same amount of responsibility. It's so simple. It's a corny and cliche quote, but it's true when it comes to this. Like it's unbelievable. It's embarrassing. Um, I'd be humiliated and ashamed if this was happening to me. But man, I mean, you had the best job you will ever get and messed it up. So I can't feel bad. And I definitely won't blame the Michigan's program at all. I don't know. I mean, how does a program even set someone up to do something like this? Like it's unbelievable. It's awful. Um, and it's something that it's just it's unbelievable more than anything.
Yeah, it's very embarrassing for not only Sharon Moore, but also the University of Michigan. Just when it felt like Michigan's year, Michigan in the news couldn't get any more chaotic and embarrassing. This story comes out. And we'll see how the legal trajectory of this story kind of when that goes to court, if it does go to court, if Sherrone Moore challenges it, he'll be going to court for more than one reason. But uh, let's get into the arrest part of it because this story originally came out in the middle of the day in the afternoon. And at the nighttime, a few hours later, there was an arrest made of Sherrone Moore. And this made no sense to anyone. And then all of a sudden, all these news outlets come out says that Moore was detained by police amid an unrelated alleged assault investigation shortly after the firing. That's coming from Reuters. And there was a tweet that came from Scott Hughes on Twitter. So take this with a grain of salt as it is. But he stated that head coach Sherrone Moore was, quote, detained and arrested after breaking into the home of the staffer he had an affair with. Moore threatened to kill the staffer and himself. He's currently in protective custody. So take that with a grain of salt as it is. But if this allegation and this news report were to be true, Beckett, what do you think this means for Sherrone Moore and his future as we know it?
There's no future. There's no future at all. Simply put, um, I mean, I think that's a given. There's no future. Um, I, dude, I mean, get ready for high school ball, dude. Like it's unbelievable. I think as much as he's gonna take a hit, the program is gonna take such a big hit with NIL recruiting. I mean, who in the world wants to go to Michigan right now? Nobody. Who in the world wants to send millions of dollars to Michigan as well? Absolutely nobody. Um, this is this has turned Michigan's program on its back, and I don't think there's anything they can do at all about it.
Yeah, the timing of this whole situation with the coaching carousel, with Penn State just hiring Matt Campbell, who many expected him to want this job, has wanted this job for years, going back to when Harbaugh was on the hot seat back around COVID time. There's a lot of word about coaching here, and we'll see how it plays out as the time is ticking before the transfer portal opens. But while this is all happening outside of the field, outside of what happens, between August and what this program expects to be is January, their season ending early this year, but preparing for that Citrus Bowl. Michigan still has to field a team. They're playing Texas in a few weeks in the Citrus Bowl, and they have named Biff Poggi the interim head coach after this. You might have noticed this guy. He was a former Charlotte head coach, comes from the ranks of Maryland in high school football, was wildly successful, winning a lot of state titles in high school ball. Jim Harbaugh really liked him. The guy's a very interesting background. Is made hundreds of millions of dollars in the finance world. So an absolute character if you've seen Biff Poggi. So he will be taking over the team and the reins for now. But I'm expecting them to find a head coach very soon because, like I mentioned, transfer portal opens up in 3 weeks. And they just actually signed quite a lot of players. So when it comes into picture, Michigan's future, so transfer portal, very concerned, especially when you have big name players like Bryce Underwood. You have emerging true freshman star Andrew Marsh at receiver. And then you also have Andrew Babeloa, the 5-star tackle, who was lined up to be a true freshman at right tackle, had an injury, missed the entire season. But besides the names, this is a very talented roster. Sherrone Moore is actually a very good recruiter. Michigan just brought in the 11th ranked recruiting class. And the year before that, I believe they were top 10 as well. So they have now opened up their NIL war chest. They are finally stepping up to the plate when it comes to recruiting in terms of NIL and being a modern program, something that they really didn't do with Jim Harbaugh. They really kind of found these under the radar guys and developed them, but they finally started investing in recruiting NIL like that. But with January 2nd coming up, the transfer portal opening up, sure, there's going to be a lot of tampering going in there. Michigan needs to hire a coach before then. These college football playoff games are happening in only a week. Could we expect an announcement before then? Could we expect an announcement maybe the following day if one of those teams' head coaches were to lose, such as maybe Kalen DeBoer from Alabama if they were to lose to Oklahoma. This has a massive impact on not only the current roster, but also the future. But if the program wants to finally build some stability, which it absolutely does, considering the PR nightmare that's happened these past few years, the next step is finding the right person for this job. So let's talk about some of the potential candidates that could be on the table when it comes to Michigan wanting to hire a head coach. Some options include Kenny Dillingham, Arizona State head coach, Clark Lee, Vanderbilt head coach, Kurt Signetti, Indiana's head coach, Kalen DeBoer, like mentioned previously, Alabama's head coach, as well as a handful of other names like John Gruden, Brian Dable, Joe Brady, Jesse Minter. But besides just naming a ton of people to name, because there are plenty of people that will want this job, what is one candidate that you think would be best suited for this job and one that you think is actually a realistic option here?
And who is built for the job is not a candidate, and it's impossible to get him into the door. It's Tom Brady. As insane as it sounds, it's Tom Brady. Um, I don't think anyone loves Michigan more than Tom Brady. No one has more pride in Michigan than Tom Brady. It's either Tom Brady or Dave Portnoy at this point. It's. I see Kenny going. I. It's kind of like Dan Lanning at Oregon. I mean, he loves Oregon. He loves the environment. We know Dan's not going to leave. Kenny's kind of the same way with Arizona State. He just loves Tempe, loves Arizona State. But man, if that Michigan job is up for Kenny, and I think he's the best candidate, honestly. I think with the amount of enthusiasm he has for the game, the amount of enthusiasm he has for players and his team, no one's set more perfectly for the job than Kenny. So I think give it to him, see how he does. I understand like DeBoer. I get that. It's either Kenny or DeBoer for me. Um, I mean, Bama fans they want DeBoer out. I mean, Alabama missing the playoffs last year is honestly like Tuscaloosa getting bombed, which is insane, but it's comparable. I mean, missing the playoffs as the Alabama Crimson Tide. It did. Like, how didn't you lose your job last year? So it's coming off like I don't know. I mean, for Alabama standards, it was a mediocre season. Um, Ryan Williams, who was the most hyped up wide receiver besides the stacked Ohio State receivers, dude, how many good games did he have? Two to three, and he did absolutely nothing in all the other games. So it's I don't know. I see DeBoer leaving Bama. Um, I think he could get the job. Kenny can get the job as easily as he wanted. Um, I think it's up to those two guys, and obviously, I think both of them want it. Both of them would be great. I think DeBoer might be a better fit for Michigan football, um, but who knows? I think, like I said, Kenny has that enthusiasm um, comparable to Dan Lanning up in Oregon. So that's the only reason why I think he doesn't leave is just because how much he loves the university. But I think it's DeBoer that gets it. In a perfect world, if contracts weren't a thing, Tom Brady gets in and turns around that program in a heartbeat.
If I were to be not realistic here and say who I want for this job, I would say John Gruden. I think he'd be a great college coach. We've seen a lot with Mike Tomlin, but Gruden has the enthusiasm. He can talk to the youth. You know, he's been with Barstool. He's kind of seen it all. You know, there's even an excerpt that Dave Portnoy posted that John Gruden's dream job would be the head coach at Michigan football. So I think I don't think it's realistic considering his lawsuit with the NFL and the PR. Michigan really needs a clean image. They want to wipe the slate and they want
Yeah,
someone that's going to come in, provide stability, provide a good PR set for them. So I don't think a guy like John Gruden or even a guy like, Jesse Minter, their former defensive coordinator, he will probably be an NFL head coach this next cycle. But I think the most realistic candidates when it comes to this job are two guys that stick out: Kalen DeBoer, Kenny Dillingham. Well, I think Clark Lee, the Vanderbilt head coach, would be a great pick here. I don't think he's going to be leaving that program. They just signed a 5-star quarterback, and he's in the SEC. But I think they're going to focus their search on DeBoer and Kelly Dillingham. I think both of these guys provide stability. Dillingham is a little bit younger, so it gives you a little more flexibility in that. But DeBoer has more experience. He brought Washington to the national title, who, they lost to Michigan. And then he went and he's brought Alabama to the playoff in year 2. So I think when it comes, both of those guys are offensive focused. DeBoer has a little more when it comes to quarterback development. Look what he did with Michael Penix, and now you see with Ty Simpson. So I think a lot of it is going to be focused on stability, PR, and image, but also being able to be an offensive minded. So I think Dillingham gives you more of a long-term solution there, but it's not like DeBoer is 70 and he's not a Pete Carroll, Bill Belichick. It's not like he's only going to be there for 3 years. So I think DeBoer is more of a raise the floor, but also has a pretty high ceiling there. But I think Dillingham gives you that flexibility where, he has that potential to get the most out of his guys and really focus on the development side, as well as bring that youthfulness and enthusiasm that, some of the donors might want to see. But if I had to bet for one of those two, I feel like it'll be DeBoer from that. But leaving ASU to Michigan versus leaving Bama to Michigan are also two different situations. I understand that Dillingham is an ASU alum, but if he really wants to win a national championship, if that is his personal goal that he wants to do, he's going to have a much better chance at doing that in Ann Arbor with Michigan, with a top 5 brand in the sport and an NIL war chest, and already a very loaded roster with a bright future. Whereas DeBoer already has the talent. He has the NIL, the recruiting, or he already has that at Bama. This would kind of be more of him personally wanting to be in the Midwest where he's from. So I would bet that it's DeBoer 1, Dillingham 2, but I think it's two different situations in terms of the age, floor, ceiling there, but very similar, I think, in what they're going to get from either of those candidates. But
Pause right here. So DeBoer leaves Bama. Who in the world is filling that position? Who's
could we
like,
see Lane Kiffin revert to Bama, his dream job? And then LSU opens up and it's a whole nother carousel.
it's the thing is DeBoer's gone. I mean, Oklahoma's going to beat Alabama. Like, there's no questions asked. Oklahoma's beating Alabama,
We'll get into
and
that.
DeBoer is going to get fired. Like, he's going to get fired. The amount of money that goes into Alabama, like, I don't think it's really fathomable to even consider and think about the amount of money that is being dumped into this program. Do you think anyone will want to send a dollar DeBoer's way after they get whooped by Oklahoma? Absolutely not. So I mean, you got to look for NFL talent at that rate. It's just the shoe is Saban left a size 17 and a half shoe for DeBoer to fill. And DeBoer wears a size 9.5, dude. Like, the shoe is this big and DeBoer's foot is this big. It's going to be so difficult. I think for the next 4 to 5 seasons, Alabama's going to be, it's going to be a rough road, dude. Like, Saban set such a standard at Alabama that is almost impossible to match or even come close to or compare. I just, I know we've all like thought like, when is Alabama gonna, crash and fall? Like this is the fall of Rome, and we're watching it. We're gonna watch it. Gonna watch it next week. Like Oklahoma's gonna whoop them. Like they're gonna whoop them.
Well, if we look at the history of it, back when he was the coach of Washington, I believe it was the next day or maybe 2 days later where he left Washington fresh off of a national championship loss to Michigan to head to Bama. So with them playing against OU on the 19th, if he were to lose that game, which it's very possible, it's a 1.5 point spread. We'll get into that in the next segment. The 20th or the 21st, if an announcement came out that DeBoer leaving Michigan, that would probably be the timeline. But if Alabama ends up winning against Oklahoma, we'll see. If we don't see an announcement for a head coach by the 21st from Michigan, maybe it's because they're waiting on DeBoer and are waiting to announce it until Alabama's run is over. But if you like the show, hit the subscribe button here on YouTube, tell a friend, and drop your own takes on our Instagram and TikTok at the Fifth Quarter Media. We see all of them. We'll be back soon with more coverage as the college football playoff plays out, as well as our regular NFL coverage. Stay tuned as the NFL playoff race comes down to the wire. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.